you all for coming here tonight. Just a couple of things. Please make sure your phones are turned off to vibrate. We don't want any disturbance in the middle of the answers that the candidates are going to be giving. Distractions. First, one of the things that we would like to emphasize is that we really would like to have no applauses whatsoever during the presentation of the answers. You can hold your applauses till the end. We are going to be recording this on video tonight, and we will be releasing it Monday to our members of the chamber. And if you would like to be included in that, let us know outside so we can add your name to the list if you want to be a member, if you're not a member. One other thing is that on your chair you have the event that we're sponsoring ourselves as chamber with Town Hall Art Center. Meet me in St. Louis. It's an event that's going to happen on December 4th. Tickets are $75, and we have about 240 seats available for us. And between us, I think the board, I think we have already about 200 committed. So if you really want to get in, please do so. It's a good cause. I mean, the chamber does a lot of good things for the community. We are just community focused. We're not lobbyists. We're not working for nobody except for the businesses and the people of Littleton. Thank you. I do want to introduce Andrea. She's a friend of mine. I've known Ann for, God, ever since she started on 7. And she's a great, generous, volunteering her time to do this for us tonight. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Pat Donahue. I and my buddy Cal, who just introduced himself, are the co-presidents of the Littleton Business Chamber. And I want to talk about really why we do this. I need the mic? Yeah. Sorry, excuse me for that. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to set the record straight of really what we're trying to accomplish here with our business chamber. I get a bunch of council candidates here. We know that 4 of them are going to be in our next council. You didn't come to hear us, so we'll keep this as short as we can tonight. But we got a captive audience, so I would like, on behalf of the chamber, I want to speak to what it really is that we're trying to accomplish. So we're completely self-funded. We're 100% voluntary. The only pay we have at all is a lovely lady helps keep us in line that we pay her just a click above minimum wage, and that's it. We're not a lobbyist group. We don't believe in self-serving, special interest. I think there's some misconception as to the purpose of the chamber. We are a bunch of business guys in town here. I don't have a business here in town that you guys are going to probably visit. I'm not here to sell you a new car radio. I don't think Cal's here to make sure that you go to some of the restaurants that he has. He was smart enough as a kid to start investing in this community and bought a bunch of buildings. So good for him. He's not a developer. None of the board are developers. We don't go after, developers and try to create high density here and all this stuff that I think is out there in this community. We're here for one reason. There are 3 aspects to a community. The community first, business, maybe we say it's second, and then the city. So we're trying to connect all 3 of those things together because they have to work together. So our love for the city is just like the residents in this city. We can have our businesses wherever we want. We chose Littleton, just like you chose to live here, just like I've chose to live in the city. So we just wanted to clear the air on that's really what's important to us. And I also think that we have to be realistic about what really pays the bills. it's sales tax in this city. So, you know, of all of our property tax money that we all throw into, only 6% of your property tax goes into the city budget. And of course, you guys know that businesses pay 4 times on a net basis that what a residence pays. So I'm sure you guys are familiar with my little building up there on Mineral and South Park Lane. That's not a very big building, and the property tax on that little building is $70,000 a year. So we need support from the community. We need the residents on our side as businesses. We have to stay strong together. So we have one board member that is just a resident. He doesn't have a business. And we'd like to start to encourage committee work to work with the city about our future. So we're anxious to create more committees and have more volunteers help us. We're in a big need way for manpower. We, as volunteers, you know, we can only do so much. So if any of you have any interest in helping us try to drive business and the community together and stay strong together, please check in with us. We have lots of work for everybody. And then I'll turn it over to Ann. But thanks a lot for showing up tonight. The one thing I think we all know clearly is if you're here tonight on a Friday night at 6 o'clock, the one thing is we all love this city and we all care about it. So thanks for coming.
Thank you, Pat. Thank you, Cal. Thank you for being here, seriously, on a Friday night. This was originally scheduled for last night, so I'm hoping that these candidates do a whole lot better than our projects. No pressure, ladies and gentlemen. So here's the deal tonight. We have given the candidates a list of questions. So they knew the questions and they filled out the answers. They now each get a minute and a half to read those answers to you. So it's not all of the questions, so lucky you or lucky us if we don't have to hear you listen to all of you read every single answer. But we have chosen a random order, and we're going to try and keep you to time so that you have a minute and a half for each answer. And, you know, we know that things are good in Colorado right now. Our unemployment rate is 2.7%, it was for September. And I want to make sure you can all hear me okay. Everybody all right? Okay. Because we're going to get our candidates up here so that they can talk about what's happening in Littleton to see what their plan is for our future. Because we all obviously care about the city of Littleton, so we want to hear what they have to say. So, thank you Littleton Business Chamber for sponsoring this. And we want to get things going, so we have chosen that Jessica Mendez-Ford will go first, and here will be the order of the questions. We will start with, what response and/or solutions will you have as a member of City Council regarding the increased homeless population in Littleton? So your choice if you want to come up to the podium and speak through the microphone, each and every one of you. But we will start with you, Jessica.
I think I probably...
Yes, we will go down the slide.
I'm sort of signaling your eyes.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jessica Mendez-Ford. I'm running for City Council at large, and I'm reading off of my phone, so I apologize for holding my phone up like the millennial I am. Here's my answer to the question. There's a perception that Littleton's homeless population has increased, but the reality is that we don't know. We have limited data on homelessness in Littleton. That's why the ongoing studies by the DU Burn Center on Poverty and Homelessness are so important. The data we receive about homeless individuals and homeless families who have children will empower City Council to make informed decisions about how to address homelessness moving forward. The current reactive approach relies too heavily on costly police interventions and hospitalizations which don't necessarily address the underlying needs of our homeless neighbors. We need proactive solutions to help homeless residents. In partnership with existing service providers and organizations, the city can decrease spending on homelessness while having a greater impact on the lives of Littleton's homeless families and individuals.
Columbia Law School and participated in the Manhattan homeless count. I recognize Littleton's increased unhoused population, and I also understand the many reasons homelessness is an especially difficult issue. Homelessness is not one thing, and often is not what we expect. There is child homelessness, people, especially women, fleeing abuse, addiction, mental health issues, the working poor sleeping in their cars and on friends' couches, etc. Littleton cannot meaningfully address homelessness and cannot ensure its resources are spent effectively and efficiently until we understand who Littleton's unhoused are. I support City Council's recent decision to enter an intergovernmental agreement with Sheridan and Inglewood to study local homelessness. When we have the study results in 2020, we can consider creative, compassionate, and cost-effective options.
How about that? So my name is Ifton Absher, and I am running in District 4. So there are a number of current studies, as you've heard from our previous two candidates, studying homelessness. The Tri-City Homelessness Study is a fantastic start to the problem of homelessness in Littleton. However, it only takes one trip to the Bemis Library on a cold day to see that the homelessness problem in Littleton is real and is something that we need to address now. Other communities have found that the best approach is with grassroots community efforts as opposed to national programs or large nonprofits. Addressing this concern will require widespread community buy-in and support. But in the long run, the ethically and the financially responsible approach is to address the underlying roots and causes of homelessness before we are spending money on expensive police interventions and hospitalizations. What we actually need right now are called temporary shelters called bridge homes, which in addition to providing housing, also provide on-site mental health counseling, substance abuse programs, life skills classes, housing navigation help in order to assist these individuals find a path back to homelessness. I lived in Los Angeles for 6.5 years during undergraduate and graduate school. I volunteered with a number of homeless programs in Los Angeles, where I interacted and I spoke with the homeless population in Los Angeles. And these are people who are just trying to make their lives better. And in Littleton, we don't have services currently to help address this issue. So if we can find a way to help, that would be the best way forward. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kelly Bowman, and I'm running for District 4. I support the City Council's decision to partner with Inglewood and Sheridan on the Tri-Cities Homelessness Policy Commission. The study they are undertaking with the Burns Institute at DU is the right first step. The causes of homelessness, including the lack of affordable housing, are extremely complicated. This new commission will be collecting data that will inform policies to address this challenging issue. We are in desperate need of good data and information. If elected, I would like to be an active participant with this effort.
Good evening. I'm Kyle Schlachter. I'm running for re-election as an at-large representative. Honestly, I don't have a perfect solution to homelessness that many people are experiencing in Littleton and the broader Denver area. I wish I did. I wish others did. But the most important thing that we can do is to remember that those experiencing homelessness are people who deserve the same rights and respect as people with homes. There are many issues that can lead to homelessness, but two things within city government's realm that we can consider, and ought to consider, is that we should ensure opportunities for housing that are affordable and promoting options for earning a fair and livable wage. City Council recently agreed, as everyone else has said, to fund a study along with Inglewood, Sheridan, and Arapahoe County. DU will conduct an in-depth research to help us gain insight into these actual causes and the challenges of homelessness in our area. In addition to better understanding these issues, we must work with community nonprofits, faith-based groups to assist those who need it. A comprehensive and coordinated effort such as this one, is the only way to appropriately support people who need our assistance the most.
There's no way it's going to. My name is Kate Eckel, and I'm running for City Council District 2. Homelessness in our country and in Littleton is a complex issue with complex solutions. Per an article published in the Inglewood Herald on September 30th of this year, the McKinney-Vento Act, which tasks school districts with gathering data about homelessness from students and their families, counted homeless people in the area. Littleton had a total at that time of 152 homeless people in the 2016-17 school year. In 2018, Littleton, as all my other colleagues have mentioned, together with Sheridan and Inglewood, established a Tri-Cities homelessness policy group to address homelessness in our communities. This year, the University of Denver's Burn Center on Poverty and Homelessness began an in-depth study to look at homelessness in our communities of Littleton, Sheridan, and Inglewood. This study is 8 months in length. Once the results of the study have been shared, we will have a better roadmap to implement the solutions that we need to solve this problem. Thank you.
Jerry Valdez, and I'm running for re-election to City Council District 2. I'm going to read the question just so we can remember what it is. What response and/or solution will you have as a member of City Council regarding the increased homelessness population in Littleton? 130 words or less. If there is no one response or solution to end homelessness. I worked for the Colorado Coalition for the Homeless for 12 years. Colorado Coalition for the Homeless has hundreds of dedicated people working to help homeless or near homeless families and individuals 24/7, 365 days a year. Littleton cannot solve homelessness problem alone. Denver spent over $60 million in their program 10 years to end homelessness. Sadly, homelessness did not end, but it did increase. Mental illness, drugs, and alcohol addiction is a huge issue that can lead to homelessness. Research shows that 70% of people experiencing homelessness has mental illness. 60% are struggling with long-term substance abuse. Littleton must partner with organizations like Colorado Coalition for the Homeless to find housing, health care, and supportive services for the homeless in Littleton. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Pam Grove, and I'm running for Littleton City Council at large. And a lot of what I've heard tonight, I'm going to echo from the other candidates. And I'm an advocate of this study that the three cities are doing together to find out what is going on in Littleton, Sheridan, Inglewood, find out what the causes are specifically here in Littleton and what we can do to address that. And that data will help us. Data always helps in terms of making sure we understand what is going on. And then we can leverage those programs that we already have to help with things like housing, employment opportunities, mental illness, and addiction. And once we have that in place, we can look at an aggregate overview, a proactive approach. So we're not spending unnecessary money on things that we don't have to. And we can be less reactive and deal with our homeless problem very locally. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Bill Schwanitz. I'm running for our city council for an at-large seat. First of all, Ian, thank you for being MC, and Pat and Cal, thank you for sponsoring. So I've talked to a significant number of homeless folks around our light rail station. I take the light rail to work downtown every morning, come back every afternoon, and over the past several months, I've realized that some of them are working parents, some of them are individuals. It's clear that there's a wide variety of causes for their homelessness. Inability to find a living wage job, mental illness, drug issues. Interesting, some of them have actually made the choice simply to live outside. Homelessness is a metro-wide problem. It's not something that one city should or could solve on its own. So there are numerous reports out from both commissions within and outside the Denver area that conclude knowing the specific causes of homelessness in your area can focus the response and potentially decrease the cost of homeless services. Luckily, as others have mentioned, there's 2 studies going on from DU that are hopefully going to shed some light on what those causes are. So with this data, hopefully then we can begin to investigate partnering with already existing services in the metro area and address the specific needs of our homeless population. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We made it through round 1. The second question for our candidates. As cities like Littleton deal with shortfalls in the budget, would you favor tax increases to deal with such a shortfall? And if so, specifically, what type of tax increases would you look to implement? And if not, how would you address any budget shortfalls? I know that's a lot to ask in a minute 30, so for that. And we're going to change up the order here a little bit, so Kyle, we will start with you, and then we will continue along this way and then come back around.
Well, this is a very important issue. Revenues that Littleton generates over the next 10 to 15 years are going to be widely important for solving our infrastructure problems. I'm open to all options when it comes to creating a balanced budget that meets our residents' needs. First thing we need to do is generate a vibrant business environment, because the vast majority of income comes from sales tax revenue. We need to make Littleton the best place to start or relocate a business. We must also look at the programs on which we are spending taxpayer dollars and make sure that they are being spent wisely and appropriately. One of the things I've pushed for as city council member is an updated study of the fees the city charges. We want to make sure Littleton's fees are predictable, equitable, and appropriately controlled. That being said, Littleton is a dire situation when it comes to capital improvements. Think infrastructure, roads, sidewalks, and facilities. The buildings the city owns are also in desperate need of improvement. More than $700 million in need have been outlined in the Transportation Master Plan, which we just adopted this past Tuesday. And that's just the transportation system. Public infrastructure and facilities tend to be high-cost investments. Some of Littleton's future transportation projects, the intersection at Mineral and Santa Fe, are enormously expensive and not feasible given our current revenues. The options at Santa Fe and Mineral are going to be driven largely by the planning and environmental linkages study along with CDOT, but will definitely require local matches. Thank you.
So, the word taxes is perhaps one of the most vilified words in our vocabulary. The philosophy of taxes is that each person in a society pays a little to put in a fund that is used to improve their town, county, state, and federal government. Taxes are used to repair streets, sidewalks, stoplights, stop signs, and provide police services, as well as other everyday services that we count on without really thinking where they come from. I'm running on a platform of fiscal responsibility. I have a home and a work budget that I run on, and sometimes I have to make tough decisions. I want the ability to look at all options for our city in a budget shortfall. Are there grants that we can apply for? Can we join forces with the county, state, and federal governments for repairs and improvements? If an increase in taxes is projected, then according to our state constitution, the decision to increase taxes will go to the voters as a ballot issue. It will be part of my job as a council member to educate my constituents on what the increase in the taxes would be used responsibly for. Thank you.
This is great reading our answers. This is easy. My homework. The city does have some buildings that desperately need maintenance and replacement. With that in mind, in 2018, the city started implementing priority-based budgeting. The result may lead to funding redistribution and reductions in spending on tasks and programs that are redundant or not necessary. It will be about 2 more years before priority-based budgeting is fully implemented. With the fire department moving to South Metro Fire district, the city now has $3 million dedicated to repair our roads. Not enough. As you may know, Littleton has the lowest impact fees in the Front Range. I have been a leading advocate for increasing development fees to cover the city cost. I am not in favor of moving forward with the tax increase until impact fees increase and priority-based budgeting is fully implemented and an increase is clearly justified or not necessary.
As a council member, I would insist on a balanced budget. The city should continue with the priority-based budgeting that Jerry mentioned, and make sure the most important projects are funded. According to Mark Ralph, as we've heard, as you know, he's the Littleton city manager, the current budget may not cover needed maintenance for city-owned buildings and the vehicle fleet. Sales tax on, or hotel tax, or like other city have, may be a solution, but it would have to be up to the voters, because that would be something that the voters would vote on. There may be alternatives to tax increases, like partnering with businesses or submitting for grants for specific projects, or the basic old suggestions. Is there a way that we can increase efficiencies or do something to save money? And looking at those suggestions might be another way to make up any shortfall. Thank you.
As a fiscal conservative, I track a tight family budget. I've done the same as a board member at our assistant's jobs, at our assistant's dogs, and also as the president of the board at Summit County Preschool in Frisco. And I look to bring that same scrutiny to our city council. Having a balanced budget in a family, or a business, or a city is, in my opinion, an absolute invaluable requirement. What I have found is that budget shortfalls are often caused by short-sightedness, whether that is insufficient planning, improper estimations, or not building a sufficient reserve to cover those occasional surprises. We should never get ourselves in a position where we need to go to the citizens to approve a tax increase to cover our short-sightedness. However, I can envision the possibility of asking voters to approve new taxes for very specific capital improvement projects. We would need to specifically describe the purpose of the project and why the city would be better because of it. We would also need to provide solid, reliable cost estimates. Our voters should expect nothing less from their city officials. So for example, I might consider a lodging tax, which by the way would apply to short-term rentals, to fund a local transit project, or an increase in impact fees for new development to cover 100% of the cost of improving the city's infrastructure to support that.
Hello again, I'm Jessica. My answer to the question is, with responsible financial planning, Littleton shouldn't experience a budget shortfall. Furthermore, the city has state-mandated budget reserves to handle unexpected expenses or surprise situations. The burden of offsetting a budget shortfall should never fall on residents. Irresponsible spending is not a valid reason for tax increases. Any tax increases must be part of a responsible fiscal plan. All tax increases must be voter-approved, and City Council should only propose tax increases for specific purposes. As an example, you've heard other people mention potential sales tax increases or a lodging tax. I've also heard those ideas when I've talked to residents when I go door to door. I would like to look into the possibility of a climate action plan tax similar to Boulder's to fund green initiatives for Littleton's government operations, residents, and business owners, but ultimately any tax increases are up to the voters.
Going forward, Littleton faces budget shortfalls, but this is solvable as we also have significant economic development opportunities, like enhancing what City Council has identified as the Santa Fe River Corridor. Littleton heavily relies on sales tax, but tax increases are hopefully unnecessary for increasing revenues. A better approach is increasing tax base. Littleton has several areas of underperforming retail. Columbine Square, for example, once created revenue but has been an ugly ruin for years. Through creativity and diligence, we can revitalize or rethink these areas to attract profitable new vendors and in turn increase tax base. I do favor a lodging tax on local hotel stays. This is standard in the hospitality industry. Taxes out of towners, not Littleton citizens, and is the low-hanging fruit and an obvious choice for increasing Littleton's income.
So this question specifically asked us about budget shortfalls. So as a council member in charge of maintaining and approving Littleton's budget, I would insist on a balanced and realistic budget so that there would be no shortfalls. One of the ways that the city is currently making sure that the budget is balanced and the city's needs is being met is through the process of priority-based budgeting. So I support the principles of priority-based budgeting, which, in times of revenue decline, identify the services that offer the highest value to the community and continue to provide funding for them. This is also known as doing the things that are important to well and cutting back on the things that are not. This process allows the city to match available resources with community values based on priority-based budgeting match available resources with community values because priority-based budgeting starts with the revenue available as the basis for the decision-making and then focuses on the full cost of the programs. As with possible tax increases, we've heard a number of candidates mention a lodging tax, which yes, of course, would tax out-of-state residents and not our local residents. There's also could be a budget shortfall, could be a sales tax increase. However, for these tax increases, they need to be for a specific purpose and, of course, be voter approved. Voters should not have to approve tax increases just to cover the city's irresponsible tax shortfalls. Thank you very much.
Nobody likes taxes, no matter what side of the aisle that you sit on. But revenue streams for a city include taxes and fees. In addressing budget shortfalls, we must first be diligent in understanding where citizen monies are being spent. We must also look at ways where the city can be more efficient. The city is initiating priority-based budgeting, which will help guide budget decisions based on priorities within our community. As we have an aging population, aging infrastructure, and increasing demands on services, then taxes and fees may be necessary. I will look to engage interested members in our community, including the chamber, on how we move forward to ensure a healthy, vibrant community.
Okay, we made it through the tax question. You doing okay, everybody? All right, we have a third question that we've asked of our candidates, and I think in this case, we're gonna make Jerry read his backwards because, just kidding, Jerry. Just because. And we're also testing them on their reading skills, right? So, all right, so the third question is, what do you see as the biggest threat to Littleton? And conversely, what do you see as the greatest opportunity in Littleton's future? It's a serious question. I'm sorry, I'm laughing. So we are going to start this time with Pam Gross. And then again, we will continue the rotation.
I think the biggest threat to our city is growth without considering the unique character of our Littleton neighborhoods and what the citizens want. We need to protect Littleton from redevelopment or development buildings that just don't fit into the character of a residential area or a business area when it comes to design, scale, and density. And glad to hear Pat and what he talked about earlier with the introduction. As I walk around the different neighborhoods and talking to citizens, it's sad for me to see these large buildings that just don't fit in, and the residents are just very frustrated with it. And when buildings are scraped off, we can still make beautiful buildings without having to be the biggest on the block. With proper zoning, which will come with the implementation of the comprehensive plan, we'll have the opportunity to partner with developers who want to do more than maximize their profits. We want to attract developers who want to build aesthetically pleasing buildings that are structurally sound, that are green, and that fit into the surrounding areas, and that are welcome in our community.
When I started out on this campaign a few months ago, I committed with the help of my colleagues and friends to knock on every voter's door in the city. And as part of doing that, I've chatted with hundreds of citizens after knocking on thousands of doors. And it's clear that what they fear most is the urbanization of our city. It'll destroy our community character, it'll destroy existing neighborhoods. We only need to travel through Englewood or Aurora to see where the path of unfettered growth takes us. Littleton is unique. We have a historic downtown, we have historic neighborhoods. These other cities that I just mentioned don't. We need to consciously protect that legacy, which is largely responsible for the vibrancy of our downtown and the successes of local businesses. And it's that historic character in our historic neighborhoods that our citizens want us to be in council and want us to protect. Thank you.
In talking with Littleton residents, it's clear that many see the prospect of rapid growth and urbanization as a threat to their neighborhoods and to our town's suburban character, as Bill also touched on. City Council can take steps to control growth and development so it aligns with the shared vision that residents have for Littleton's future. Therein lies the greatest opportunity for Littleton, making sure all residents have a voice in the process of guiding our city's future. We can use tools like the results of the Envision Littleton survey and future surveys. We can host public hearings about proposed development projects, hold formal and informal meetings like this one, at which residents can hear from and engage with council members, and we can also be more present online to connect with residents who can't necessarily leave their homes to attend these types of events. It's about making sure that we all have a part in this process of guiding Littleton's growth in the future.
We face several challenges: traffic, an aging community, rising housing costs, and limited financial resources, to name a few. But Littleton has a long tradition of approaching challenges with bold, creative, community-enhancing solutions, like South Platte Park and mitigating east-west traffic problems with the railroad depression near downtown that ultimately let us land light rail. Likewise, we have exciting opportunities we should be ambitious about. For example, the lot at the northwest corner of Bowles and Santa Fe could become some unique, even amazing connection between downtown and the river, and a cultural asset to rival our museum or Hudson Gardens. Our city has positive momentum right now to build on. Let's continue our tradition of bold thinking, recognize our community's capacity, and find Littleton's next phase.
So the biggest threat to Littleton is to lose our neighborhoods and community character. This came out in the Envision Littleton Citizen Survey, and I have heard it time and time again as I've knocked on over 2,000 doors in District 4 alone. The anchor characteristic specifically from the Envision Littleton plan says, Littleton will remain anchored by a firm belief among its residents and leaders of what makes this a truly special place. We can all agree that Littleton is so special. People value their neighborhoods, and if the city allows development that doesn't fit, then that sense of community is lost. Littleton is lost, and there'll be nothing to distinguish our hometown from any other suburb in the Denver metro area. Growth and development, however, are not the enemy. If they are managed properly, and we are not sacrificing our history for the onward march of progress, we can create a truly amazing place to live. My family has been in Littleton for over 50 years, so protecting the city I love is one of the things that I value the most. Thank you.
The greatest threat today is remaining stuck in our former ways of thinking and not moving forward. We can hold on to the spirit of our past. We have the potential to achieve greatness with the help and guidance of the new comprehensive plan, the Envision Littleton Comprehensive Plan, and the Transportation Master Plan. The original comprehensive plan was prepared on a typewriter in the 1980s, and the transportation plan has never even existed. So many changes have occurred between now and then. The greatest opportunity lies within our unlimited, creative, and resourceful community. Abundant opportunities await, and I'm excited about being a part of this unfolding new chapter in our city's history.
Got a different answer. I think the greatest threat to Littleton is sprawl. One of the common themes I've heard from the past few years is from Littleton natives who remember when the county line was the end of the metro area and was just a dirt road. Highlands Ranch has grown by 20% these last 10 years and continues to grow and develop. Sterling Ranch will eventually add 33,000 more people south of Littleton. It's almost the same size as Littleton, just down San Jose. These communities impact Littleton, perhaps more so than Littleton's modest population gains. Many people think that right now our population is skyrocketing. The biggest population boom in Littleton was in the 50s and the 1960s. While that period has given us some of the coolest architecture in the entire metro region, it set in motion the growth that this South Metro area is experiencing and led to our current traffic woes. How we move forward to make sure that the residents and businesses can improve the quality of life, think open space, mobility, transportation, housing options, is the greatest opportunity that we have for Littleton's future. That wasn't planned, Kate, I swear. Jerry, pay me later.
It's a big secret, but I'm sure. So anyway, so here's my thing, is that this is truly what I feel, but I'm worried that the audience isn't going to like my answer, so I'm just going to go for it. What I've seen as our biggest threat here in Littleton is just fear. People are afraid to answer their doors. They're afraid to talk to their neighbors. And as I've been knocking on some doors, especially in my little corner of the world in District 2, I would see people pull up in front and just be like, don't talk to me, please don't talk to me. And so what I want to do as a city council member is get people out on their front porches and get them out on their stoops and start talking to their neighbors again. Because a lot of people are just so afraid that they just stay inside. And so I want to see more of community engagement. As a Littleton City Council member, I want to do more to bring our citizens outside. I want these interactions and conversations to continue to inform and support the community. Some of the best people I've ever met live right here in Littleton. I want people to have trust that their neighbors do care about them. I want them to trust that the city of Littleton, which we all hold dear to our hearts, really does have the best interests of its citizens. Thank you.
I'm still Jerry Valdez, and I'm running for re-election. Okay, we're going to get the question here. And the question is, of course, what do you see as the biggest threat to Littleton, and conversely, what do you see as the greatest opportunity for Littleton's future? 130 words or less. I went for less. Biggest threat. Retail sales is essentially retail business is the essential part of our community. Many internet sales do not collect sales tax. The direct effect on Littleton's ability to properly fund someone, this affects Littleton's ability to properly fund some items. I don't always read my own stuff that well. It also reduces the demand for retail space. Greatest opportunity. Fortunately, Littleton has few chain stores. Many of Littleton's small independent retailers have expanded into online sales, thereby allowing customers from around the state, country, and world to buy their products.
All right, so you heard the prepared remarks. And for this last round, we just want to allow our candidates to make some closing comments. So I am anxious to hear what they have to say off the cuff. Unless you want to read something prepared, you're welcome to do that as well. So again, just closing comments, and in this case, we are going to start with Bill. And you're in charge of the microphone.
So happy to leave my notes behind. It's great to look out, see you guys, see how many people are here, and not have to look down at my notes to read exactly what I wrote. So I moved to Littleton about, well, more than a decade ago. And when I got here, I remember being struck by the historic houses in town, the historic buildings in downtown. That's what made me really want to move here. And when I finally got here, I remember being saddened by the number of those buildings that were being demolished. And every one that I saw go away, I wished that there was something that I could do to keep it here. And finally, about 6 or 7 years ago, a house went up for sale, an old farmhouse at the corner of Windermere and Ridge Road. Many of you have probably seen it, a big greenhouse in the backyard. It was in bad shape. There were already 2 offers from developers to tear it down and build 2 houses on that lot, and I couldn't stand to see that happen. So I went in and I talked to the realtor. She was there, the realtor of the sellers, and I told her that I would like to make an offer on the house that was less than what the developers were offering, but I wanted her to make a proposal to the sellers that I was going to renovate the house and keep it there. And she talked to the children of the sellers because the owners were elderly, and one actually was deceased. And they really liked that idea. So after a year of renovation, it's now what my children and I call home. And that was the one opportunity that I had as an individual to do something to protect the neighborhood, to protect our city, and to protect one of those historic buildings. And I think now, running for city council, I can expand that to the entire city. And I would like to bring that sensibility to protecting other properties here in town, protecting our neighborhoods from urbanization. And I think that's something that, after talking to thousands of citizens in the last several weeks, that they really want the council to do. So thank you. I'm Bill Schwanitz. I'm running for at-large, and I would very much appreciate your vote.
I do have notes because I'm afraid otherwise I might go over the time limit. So, thanks again to the Littleton Business Chamber for hosting this event. Candidate forums like this one are essential to informing voters about their choices on the ballot. I appreciate the opportunity to share my perspective on issues like growth, development, traffic, taxes, the environment, and I enjoy hearing from my fellow candidates as well. I don't want this candidate forum to be the end of our dialogue. I want to continue the conversation. I want to represent your voices and your concerns as a member of City Council. As an educator, my goal is to engage and educate residents so that we can all understand and contribute meaningfully to local government processes. Littleton voters have many candidates to choose from in this City Council election. I ask you to choose me and vote for Jessica Mendez Ford for Littleton City Council at large. Thank you.
As I've campaigned, a number of people have told or asked me, often passionately, about something they believe went wrong in Littleton's past. I appreciate their strong feelings. We all love Littleton, and a city of apathetic, uninvolved citizens could never create the wonderful community we're blessed to have. Let's of course always work to avoid past mistakes, but otherwise, this is not where I am as a candidate. It's not where my young family is, and it's not where I want our community to be. I'm interested in the steps we can take and the ideas we can have moving forward to become even better, safer, stronger, wealthier, more fulfilling, and more fun. Our city, our world really, deserves leadership focused more on the optimistic. I've done the work to be qualified, and I've built the relationships and the support to be effective. I'm asking for your vote. This is the kind of council member I want to be. I'm Scott Moran. I'm running for an at-large seat. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you all so much for coming tonight and for your interest in getting involved in local politics, and thank you to the Littleton Business Chamber for hosting this event. So as many of you know, my family has been in Littleton since 1965. So growing up here shaped who I am as a person. But I also want to tell you a little bit about the people who shaped me. My grandmother was born in a sod house on the eastern plains of Colorado and grew up during the Great Depression and the Dust Bowl. After moving to Littleton, my grandparents were small business owners who operated an upholstery business out of their basements to make ends meet. Well, and if it was still up to my soon-to-be 95-year-old grandmother, she would still be doing that upholstery business if you ask her. My grandmother taught me the importance of being wise with your money and being thankful for what you have. My father immigrated to the United States in the early 1980s with nothing but $40 in his pocket and the desire to make a better life for himself. He went from being a commercial airline pilot to mopping floors at a Circle K to put himself through university while simultaneously supporting his sick mother back in Africa. My father has taught me the value of hard work. Finally, my mother, my best friend. She had a desire to be the first person in her family to attend college. She worked 2 and sometimes 3 jobs, a total of 80 hours a week, so she could save money and go to school. And then my grandfather got sick, and all the money she had saved she gave to the family to pay for his hospital bills. My mother taught me what it means to be selfless. A city council member is called a public servant. We serve the public. Just like my family who has worked and struggled and sacrificed so much for me, I am ready to serve the community that I love. I feel so blessed to be in this position, running for council, in order to have the opportunity to make the lives of all of our citizens better, just like my family worked to make my life better. My name is Ifton Absher, and I am running for City Council in District 4. I am asking you to vote for me so that together we can make Littleton the city we want for our future. Thank you.
Thank you to the Littleton Business Chamber for hosting us tonight. Thank you for all of you for coming out on a Friday evening, especially during happy hour. I got into this race with the sole purpose of wanting to give back to my city, to my community, because it has given so much to me and to my husband and to my 2 children. Sometimes my decision to run for council makes my heart beat a little faster, my stomach rumble a little bit, but it's just because I can't wait to get to work. I really can't wait to get on council. I want to be a part of the decisions made about the future of our city. I will honor and learn from our successes, our past successes. But we as a community can challenge ourselves to do more and be even better. I understand and accept that serving on council will require sacrificing time with my family and my friends, and that I will have to juggle my work schedule at Children's Hospital, Colorado. But there is no place that I would rather live than right here in Littleton. I am grateful that I'm here tonight campaigning for my place at the podium. I'm asking for your vote, and in turn, I promise that you will have my full commitment of service. My name is Kelly Milliman. I'm running for City Council here in District 4, or in District 4 over there.
Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight. It's great to see so many people in the audience. Being elected to City Council 2 years ago was one of the greatest honors of my life. It really has been a significant yet humbling privilege to serve our citizens. When I decided to run 2 years ago, thinking about why I want to run for re-election this time, it goes back to my children, because I care deeply about our future, my children's future, your future, our future together. But being a father also gives me some insight into how little things, small things, can kind of set us off track. I have 2 young kids who live 1 block that way. I'll be watching a movie right now, and I would love to be there. But running for council is a sacrifice, and I do things to sacrifice for my children. My goal is to teach them to be good people, to be respectful and responsible. As much as I tell them to pick up their toys and eat their peas and things like that, those are small things. It's not the small things that matter. Just as running a city, the small things are very important to our day-to-day lives. A pothole on your street, crack, your garbage not getting picked up, though that's private company there. The city's role is the big picture, setting policy that will drive the future of the city. And that's what City Council needs to do. During these past 2 years, we've accomplished a lot. We just ratified, approved the comprehensive plan, transportation master plan. But there's still a lot more work to do to steer the city forward into the future that we want and deserve. I will continue to lead by example, to bring small town family values, the voice of all of Littleton's residents, along with an innovative vision for the future, balanced with a sense of preserving our historic character that here we have in Littleton. I promise to take the same message that I've made in my campaign and as city council member these last 2 years forward as I continue in city council. I'm proud to be honest, transparent, and positive in my campaign. Littleton deserves positive, open-minded, and respectful leadership, which our grandparents and children and our neighbors can all be proud of. And I think I've seen
Oh, that's what the timekeeper.
So like you, I am a Littleton citizen. I live here, I buy my groceries here, I attend art shows and go to restaurants and events, all here in our community. As a citizen, I've decided I wanted to give back and serve the community that I live in, and that's why I decided to run for city council. Throughout this process, I have been humbled and honored to my heart's core. What I do really, really well is listen to the needs and wants of a group of people and then deliver results. This thing is Tracy. As a human resources professional, I have employees and an organization with different needs and desires, and my job is first and foremost to protect the well-being of the employees and the financial health of the organization. For if there isn't one, then there isn't the other. It's difficult and tricky, and I'm really good at bringing and implementing solutions. I'm passionate and smart, hardworking, and I have a great sense of humor. Like I said, I'm a worker bee. I will roll up my sleeves and I'll work to make sure your ideas and concerns are part of Littleton as we move forward. Most importantly, I care deeply about our community and the city and the people. I'm asking for your vote for District 2. I'm Kate Apple. Thank you.
I'm still Jerry Valdez. I learned how to fly fish over at Kitchering when I was about 5 years old. My dad took me out there. And I fell in love with Littleton way back then, going to Western Welcome Week parades. I don't think you were the MC back then, many times since then. Mary Pat, a wonderful wife, and I have lived in the district for over 33, District 2 for over 33 years. Oh, by the way, I wrote a 1,000-page essay, if I could go ahead and read it now. I hear you, okay. I graduated from the University of Northern Colorado School of Business with an emphasis in small business management. I have extensive experience writing business plans and strategic plans. Now retired as Director of Property Operations from the Colorado Coalition for the Homeless. I've worked the past 18 years part-time for the NFL Denver Broncos football team on the statistics teams of the team spotter. It was no fun spotting last night. It has been an honor to serve District 2. I'm running for District 2 because I want to build on the momentum that we have made over the last 4 years to build Littleton's future. I have graduated from the Littleton Citizens Police Academy, the Neighborhood Leadership Program. I was, for 12 years, the Littleton Planning Commission, on the Planning Commission, 2 years as chair and 2 as vice chair. I have volunteered numerous times at our public schools. This all started long before being on council. When the music plays, that's that when I get to stop. And I've been involved in the city of Littleton my entire life since I've been in Littleton and volunteered and helped out a lot. So I would appreciate your vote. Thank you very much.
As you probably have guessed, I'm running for city council because I want to maintain the character and charm of our city. I want our citizens to have a greater voice. Sure, we need to be fiscally responsible, maintain our open space, work on transportation issues, and have safe and reliable transportation so people can walk and bike, and so that we can contribute to being a green city. If I was out there, I would want to know, why do you think you're qualified, Pam? Well, I've served this community for 9 years on the Littleton Historical Preservation Board. When I was vice chair and then I was chair, we had a lot of accomplishments. We worked with various partners in the community. We worked with citizens. We worked with elected officials. We worked with Historic Littleton, Inc., and a variety of different task forces. Some of the things we accomplished while I was in the leadership role was helped with the downtown design guidelines and the design standards. We completed the Littleton Heights Historic District Design Guidelines. It took 17 years, but we did. We assisted with an application to get the post office in Littleton designated as a national landmark. We initiated monthly historic walking tours. We created a system so we could roll over unused funds from year to year to help property owners maintain their historic buildings. We initiated a community outreach to citizens as well as to business owners. And we worked with a local business to maintain the facade of an iconic downtown building. This year I have been on the Envision Littleton Community Coordination Committee, and I gave input to the comprehensive plan as well as the transportation master plan. Personally, I'm a 32-year resident of Littleton. I'm married. I have 2 grown daughters who went to Littleton Public Schools. I have a business background. I have 35 years of professional experience as a marketer, a team leader, college instructor, and now I'm retired. In short, I have the time, the interest, the professional background, and the city experience to do this job. I look forward to your vote. Pam Grove for Littleton City Council at large. Thank you.
And now you're welcome to applaud. And pull your heart out and tell what you expect and what you want for your city. So thank you, all of you, for being here. Thank you to all the candidates for spending your time with us and giving us some very honest answers. And I hope you're able to walk away from this event knowing who you're going to vote for, at least having some answers that you were looking for. So I'm Ann Fruby, November 7th, and it was my honor to be here. I have long loved Littleton, so it's important to me as well. So thank you for including me. And I turn things back over to Kat.
Thank you all for coming on a Friday night. On behalf of the chamber, we really appreciate your commitment to the city. I do want to recognize all the candidates as well running for the, I don't know why you guys do this. The only reason I can see is that you love the city, because it takes so much time and so much effort, and I really appreciate that. The commitment for public service. Thank you very much for that. I do want to recognize Littleton Public School as well for this beautiful venue, for allowing us to have this event here. And we are very blessed to have been able to acquire this space. With that said, thank you for being here. We really done this ahead of time, so we have plenty of time. I would say, if you want, Pat, come on up if you want to say a couple of things. And after Pat is done talking, we should probably take him longer than I did. If you want to come up and talk with the candidates, please feel free to do that. Please to do that. And we have the place till 7:30. We want everybody out of here by 7:15 so we can lock up the place. The doors lock up at 7:30 sharp. So thank you again. I really appreciate it. And please give yourself an applause. Oh, one more thing. I almost forget. I love Ann. I love the fact she volunteered her time. thank you, and I know I've seen you and seen the Watch the Walk Community events for years, and I miss you, so you know that. Thank you.
Just quickly, I'd just like to say that I'm going to sleep a lot better, and I'm sure you all are, with these kind of candidates. I think a lot of these people should be running for Senate, and I heard a comment from a building owner back here, when one of you stopped, said she should run for governor. So, anyway, I really mean that. I've been to a lot of these things, and you get a lot of people that are tripped up and don't have good answers and everything. And everybody here tonight did an amazing job. The reason why we did it this way was we didn't want people stealing other ideas, not to suggest that you would do that, but we didn't want to have a lot of redundancy. So we said, well, bring your answers with you. And I think it worked out pretty good. I'm pleased with it. There was no criticism of each other. We don't feel that way. We're all in this together, and I really find it really inspirational, all of your courage to come here tonight and to run for council and to do this. And I'm honored to know you all. So thanks a bunch.